Hey everybody, welcome back to my Astromech. Now I want to try something a little bit different this time. I want to take you through the process of building a 3D printed droid part from scratch. So I've chosen to try the Holo Projector for this, and I'm going to start by modeling it in fusion360, and I'm going to try to take it right through to the final finish. Okay, let's go. I decided to do this because I've spoken to a few other builders out there who are simply printing out other people's models because they don't believe that they can design and model the parts themselves. And of course, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that approach, but I just wanted to show that it might be easier than you think to jump in and get your feet wet with the modeling software. Now I'm going to start with the Builders Club drawing for R2's Holo Projector. And the first thing I've done is I've gone through and I've converted all the measurements to a unit that I'm more comfortable working with. Nearly all of the club drawings list measurements in imperial or decimal inch. So if you prefer to work in snoots or metric or something, you can convert everything first, or you can just work through it with inches. Okay, let's head into the office. Okay, so here I am at my PC. I've got fusion360 opened up with a new window. I've got my drawings on the desk in front of me and a nice refreshing glass of blue milk to keep me going. So I'm going to start this model like most with a sketch. And I'm going to begin on the front plane here, the X plane. And the first thing I'm going to draw is the ball that's going to represent the main profile of the Holo Projector. So starting with a circle, I'll get that drawn. Now this circle I'm going to divide because I'm going to use the revolve tool to rotate all of these parts into existence. Now I'm also going to put a flat bottom on this thing for a couple reasons. One, it gives us a point where we can build a mount if we would decide that we're going to animate the Holo, and this is also going to make it easy to print. Okay, and if I go up here to my revolve tool, select that profile, select the axis that I want to revolve it around, and we're going to do a full 360 revolution. And there's our first body. Now I'm going to hide that for a couple minutes and start another sketch. And this time I'm going to draw out the clamping shells that hold the ball in place. Once more, starting with the circle tool. So again, I'm going to be revolving these shells, so I'll draw a line to divide it, and then come out to form the tab, or the lip around the outside of the clamp. And I'm sure this is all going to make sense shortly here. So I'll sketch out the bottom clamp at the same time here, and then stop the sketch, and again switching to my revolve, grab these two profiles, and I'm going to revolve them around this line, and there's the top shell. So of course this top shell is going to need a hole cut through it for the Holo Projector to protrude out of. And again, if we look at the drawings, we'll see that it's basically a rounded rectangle. So I'm going to hide this body and start another new sketch, this time on the bottom plane. And switching to my center rectangle tool, I'll begin drawing that out. Now here, if you're paying attention, you might see that I'm actually entering these dimensions in decimal inch. And that's just because I haven't done the math on this yet, and I'm just going to go ahead and let Fusion do the hard maths for me. And you'll see that it just goes ahead and converts everything back to metric for me. And so this, again, like I said, this rectangle is going to be basically a rounded rectangle. So I'll just go switch to the fillet tool. And do all four corners at the same time. And the drawings show that at a 3/4 inch radius. And if we stop the sketch, you'll see what I'm left with is this profile that I'm going to use to actually cut the hole through the shell. So if I extrude this up through the top, we're left with that nice rounded rectangular hole, just like the drawings show. And if I hide this for a moment and bring back this sketch, I can revolve the bottom shell out as well, and you can see how it all comes together. Okay, so all of that was pretty easy, and things are going to get just a little bit more complicated now while I try to sketch out the lens cap. I'll go back to this front plane again. And I'm going to start out by sketching out some construction lines that are just going to give me some key dimensions that I need to start with. So these dimensions are just some key measurements that I've worked out by looking at the drawings. And they'll just serve as a good reference for getting the sketch started. So I find that starting off with single points is a good way to get my dimensions set before switching back to my line tool. And looking at the drawings, I can see that the outside diameter of this cap is 1.812 inches, so I can set the radius here and then do the same with the tapered end at the top. And then if I switch back to my line tool, simply connecting the points, I know that radius will be correct when I rotate this. And I can do the same thing for the inside profile. And go ahead and draw this part out. Now for this line, I have the measurement for this point to the final point, the height difference, and I have the angle off of horizontal, which I know is 60 degrees. So if I go ahead and constrain this to 60 degrees, that'll allow me to snap the line to this construction line, and I know I've got it. Now I can just complete these lines and finish off the profile. If I go back to the drawings again, I can see that this cap has a series of ridges around it. And the drawings call out the depth of these ridges and the number of them. So I just need to go back and draw one more offset line, which will allow me to form those ridges. So I'll drop a point and I will set that at the depth that I require. Switch back to my line tool. And so with this, it's more important that I have it parallel to this line. So I'll try to constrain it to that. I'm not going to worry if I try to snap it onto this line. See how it really wants to snap onto that center point here. And as I play around here, you can see that I keep losing that constraint. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go ahead and draw the line and try to add the constraint after. So if we grab the parallel constraint, select the new line, and then constrain it to the original. So I believe that that has it for the sketch. If I just have another look at the drawing, see if I've missed anything. And I have. I just need to add one more. I just need to round off this corner here. So I'll go ahead and use the fillet command again. And it is 0.7 millimeters. And I believe that that is complete. So I'll go ahead and stop the sketch. Yeah, and of course, if I realize that I've missed something, I can always come back and edit this sketch after. So the first thing I'm going to do to make this cap is go ahead and revolve the main profile. Into a new body. Then if I can bring back that sketch, and I'll hide that for now. This profile here is going to form the ribs that are going to go around the outside of this cap. So I'll start by just revolving one piece of that around the same axis. But I don't need the full 360 degrees. I just need a couple degrees of rotation. Maybe 3 degrees. I just check this dimension here, and I think I need a little bit more. So the nice thing about this is I can just go back and edit that revolve. And that's got it right there. So now that I have one of these ribs, I can select it, do a circular pattern around the blue axis, and the drawing says that I need 36 of these. And just like that, I have a ribbed cap. All that I need to do now is just combine them into one body. You can see that I selected the first body as the target, and checking over here, you can see that I have all 36 of the ribs selected, and we're going to do a join operation, and that brings everything back into a single body. If I bring up these other bodies, you can see that we're really getting somewhere. So I'm going to use a cutting operation to make a place in the ball for this lens cap. And as long as I remember to select the Keep Tools checkbox here, I can cut the ball without losing the cap. Now that operation left me with this little piece here. That's because of the way I used one body to cut the other. And another option would have been to use this profile here to revolve a cut, but I still would have been left with that piece. That's easy enough to remove it. Now that leaves me with an inset that the cap fits down into. So I'm just about finished with this model. The only thing that's left is some holes for clamping these shells together, and run a hole straight through the center of everything in case we want to run lights or anything in here. Now I could start a new sketch, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and edit this base sketch and add what I need on there. I'll start again with a rectangle, and this is going to give me the location of the holes. So we could go ahead and just draw the holes on each corner of this rectangle, or just pattern them. Just like so. And while I'm at it, I'll add this circle to cut out the hole through the center. And stop the sketch. Okay, and I'm going to extrude all 4 of these. And I'm going to want this extrusion to go both ways, so I can pick symmetric from this drop down. Bring the shells back, and you can see that it automatically switches to a cutting operation. And that gives us our holes. Now I'm going to do the same thing once more with a center hole. Again, pick symmetric. And extrude it right through both of these bodies. So that's basically it for this simple model. Now you've got a choice to make. You could combine the cap with the ball into a single model, but I'm actually going to leave them as separate models because, well, because that's just the way I roll. So what I've shown is not so much a tutorial as it is just a simple demo. And of course, I'm not implying that that's the best way to model the Holo, or even that it's a good way. It's just the way that I work. Now, I'm going to go ahead and print the pieces out, and in the next video, I'm going to go through how I finish my parts. And once again, if you like this stuff, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to be watching the likes and the comments on this video just to decide if I'm going to do any more videos like this or not. And until next time, remember, anger leads to hate.